Hello, everybody. My name is Rosencrantz, and
I
this is
hadn't
Gilden.
stopped
Sorry,
wiggling. You
go
started
start
waving.
again.
Okay, go.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rosencrantz, and this is Guildenstern, and we are very much still alive. You have to pay for the videos of the waveforms of photos. They're stock images. Of course, you're gonna have to pay for them. You can't just get them for free.
Oh my god.
I mean, you could copy and paste them, but that's illegal. $14.99 per image.
I just want to credit. That's all.
Wow.
Alright, I can just see. Oh, there we go. That's what. Oh, the pop-up really broke my vibe.
That's right. You can. Oh, you can preview it with the.
There we go. That'll do. That makes me feel like I'm looking at something now. I'm going to fix my microphone.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rosencrantz, and this is.
They can have that
Guildenstern, and we
previous
are
bit
very-
just as
yeah,
like a cutout.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, cool. I think
We're
it's
going
worth it.
candid today. It's been a long time.
but we
since
still
we've
need to do
done-
the
Hello,
intro.
everyone.
Do the
My
intro.
name is Rosencrantz, and this is Guildenstern, and we are very much
We
still
need an
alive.
actually good one to
Hello,
put
everyone.
aside.
My name is Rosencrantz, and this is Guildenstern, and we are very much still alive.
Just kidding. It's Aaron and Ari here. Welcome back to another episode of a podcast where two theatre people who are fairly unqualified in theatreness talk theatre.
So rehearsals are going well. You know, we're still trucking along.
No, my
So-
God, please don't do that. I feel like every other episode starts with us talking about rehearsals.
Yeah,
We're
I know,
not
it's-
rehearsing for anything anymore.
We're not rehearsing anymore. We're not
Oh
rehearsing
my
for
God!
anything anymore.
Imagine that. No, we kind of are, but not
Well, yeah,
any of
but
our
nothing,
stuff.
nothing major. You know, nothing like stressful.
Isn't that kind of weird? Whoa, us not
We're
talking
finished.
about... What do we even talk about on this podcast when we don't talk about rehearsals or shows?
What do we do when we aren't doing shows?
Who
That's
are
the real
we?
question.
What
Who are we if not our work?
Everyone enjoy Aaron's right foot, which you can see in the bottom right of the camera.
cool
Let's
socks.
see how much it goes.
See, if I go down here, then you can't see it.
Yeah, hide it. Hide the excitement.
Hide the excitement of not having to do anything
I actually
anymore.
have cool socks. I was about to be like, look at my cool socks, but for first
Oh.
time ever, they're just stripy.
I get cooler socks
Yeah,
today.
probably. That's a bit
Not
embarrassing,
bad.
to be honest. Most of mine are in the wash, though, because I had them all in Auckland.
Yeah, we just came back from New
Segue.
Zealand 2 days. You came back yesterday. I came back 2 days
yesterday.
before.
I slept for about 15 hours last night.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm really not comfy right now. I've forgotten how I sit in the beanbag, but it's definitely not like this. We're just going to pop a little, like, weird frog situation. That's how Aaron sits in his beanbag. With the oh, I just tickled my ear with the dangly bits.
I don't have any
Ice
dangly bits. It's just weird now. I can feel my beard. That's the
this
biggest
is-
change.
Sorry, that probably made a really loud bang.
But should we go in order?
Like us in go in order?
No. Should we like go back? Do,
Oh, like do it
yeah,
chronologically.
do it chronologically.
Chronological.
Not this like it's literally
Yeah.
just the end of We'll Meet Again and then New Zealand. But as opposed to
Oh,
doing
right,
Auckland.
like all the way back to when we... I thought you were talking about just doing Auckland chronologically, and I was like...
I
that's
meant like maybe
gonna
we
need
should
my
talk
phone.
about the fact that the show is over and just do
Yeah,
a little bit on that.
that's a vibe.
And then we can do a bit about Auckland, and then we can do a bit about.
This is
whatever's
very
left.
candid. No, we have not talked about what we were going to
We haven't
talk about
done
in
a
this
podcast in a very long
I
time.
literally just voice memoed Aaron last night.
Yeah.
No, actually, that's a lie. This morning at 5 a.m. when I woke up from my
You're
nap,
15 hours.
but
late.
very prolonged nap that started about 4 p.m. yesterday. No, it didn't start that early. But and was like, hey, do you want to do a podcast today? I actually don't have anything on because it's a public holiday.
Yeah, thanks, Queen. Rest in peace.
Oh God.
I love your music.
Okay, let's be sensitive to the issue.
So yeah, we did a podcast today.
Thank you for taking over. I was like changing many gears in my brain. Wasn't sure how to get out of that
Here
hole.
and back.
Um,
Yeah, so we had the day off to chill out and do nothing.
Yeah.
It's actually been really good coming back from a trip, to be honest. It's kind
This
of been
is
a blessing
true.
in
It let me
disguise.
unpack properly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm messing with the mic a lot because I'm just not vibing. It's the location on my face.
You want to change it?
No, it's okay. I like
Okay.
it now. I normally have the fluffy one though.
Oh, I forgot about that. I
Yeah,
thought
no,
we
it's
switched
okay.
it.
I'm just like, whoa, this is like a non-fluffy mic.
Oh, sorry, Mike got the fluffies
Yeah,
on
you
it.
got the cool fluff.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just make myself a floof. So we both have
I think
fluff.
it's like 75 cents.
Yeah,
from
but you can
memory.
literally like just cut one out of foam.
From yeah, that's a good point. You can
Yeah.
just make it for about the same
Floof.
price. But yeah, so we're doing a podcast. That's what this is. Welcome to the podcast.
This is a podcast. I thought we were just having a chat with all these microphones and
And
cameras,
and
and lights.
videos and.
I don't even know what the lighting looks like. We
Public
put them up, but I'm not
conversations.
entirely sure if they're any
I
good.
actually don't know what they're doing.
I don't think I'm not convinced that one's on. I'm
Nah,
gonna
it's
be
on.
honest.
It's on. I can see it from here.
I
can
still
see
don't
it
know
through
how I
the
feel.
hole.
We had this I mean, way back at the start, we decided that it was best to face the lights to the ceiling and
Yeah,
have them reflect.
of
But
the
I'm not
shadows.
actually convinced that they do anything. Like I think if you went there and turned them both off, that the lighting wouldn't change from my overheads, just my room overheads.
I'm not going to do that.
No, of course not,
because-
because that would make us feel sad about all the extra
yeah,
effort we
because
put
it's
into
gonna be
setup.
like, oh.
Like it literally makes no difference. If anything, it might just add a few more shadows.
Ooh, but that
um,
feels a bit cool. We like
Yeah, a bit
shadows.
edgy. Yeah.
But the show's over.
What we do in the shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows, good movie.
I've seen that movie.
Yeah, this is a good show.
A little bit radical. So how do you feel, Aaron? Now that I'm going to do some question time because I don't know how I feel, so I'm going to question time you.
I didn't
and then
ruminate
steal
a
your
lot about
answers.
Yeah,
Kidding,
because
won't steal your
I would
answers.
also like to. I
Won't
feel like you and I
plagiarise.
haven't really had a big.
We haven't
debrief.
talked at all because basically after We'll Meet Again finished, I flew out to Auckland
Yeah.
like within a week, and I was like, you know, when you know what happens when you go on holiday and you have to like
Yeah.
finish up at a
And
job,
I also feel
not
like
finish up at it, but you know.
you just. I don't know. This was me just perceiving it from you, and that's why I didn't push anything in terms of us talking about it. Was just because for me it seemed like you just wanted to not think about it for a bit after it finished.
I didn't
And
really
wanted
have.
to
I mean, we
reset
didn't
and
really
just-
see
I
each
mean,
other
yeah.
between.
No, but not just in terms of us, but like when we would like, let's say I had a meeting or talk with someone else about it, I would, and you were like, no, I don't really want to.
Oh, I just didn't want to know. I wasn't sure how the one particular meeting you were talking about. I was like, oh, I don't really need to know.
Oh,
what
okay,
we,
makes sense.
like
makes
it
sense.
wasn't
yeah,
like
yeah. Okay.
I'd heard everything I needed to hear from that person, and wasn't like
Oh,
I
yeah,
wasn't
okay,
like
fair enough,
I was
fair
like nah.
Fair enough.
It's not that I didn't want to hear about the show.
No, but okay.
Or didn't want to
either
talk about
way.
the show.
But yeah. So anyway, you can do your questions if you want, and I can.
No,
do
I was
my
just saying,
answers.
how do you feel now that the show's done?
I'm feeling pretty happy about it, to be honest. Very like kind of relieved and happy. I mean, especially considering that like it was quite obviously the documentary doesn't really go into a lot of the aftermath of it.
True, go check
right,
out the
so
documentary. It'll
Go watch the
be
doc. Really
there.
great.
Actually, wait, here.
possibly.
it'll probably be
I
here
think it'll
because
be
you usually put it
I think it's
top.
there, top right.
I have to like reverse my brain
But yes.
above my head.
So after the show, everyone liked it, which was nice.
Wow,
No, but like,
No, I
we actually
agree.
got some really
that was
good,
a little bit radical.
really good reception, which we were surprised by. You know, not to say that we weren't sure, but like I think it was better than we expected it to be received.
Yeah,
At least I definitely feel that way. So it's kind of enlivened me to be like, oh well, you know, you and I made something cool. Like,
yeah.
I liked that.
I feel that.
And I felt like a new sense of pride for us, being like, not only did we do something and make something and release something, but we released something that people enjoyed and didn't go, oh, that's just something you.
That
guys
was a
put
waste of
time
my
into."
time.
But not even a waste of time, but just like it feels better when you make something that people receive well,
Oh, of
because you
course.
go, great, all of this hard work and effort that we've put into it together has
Paid off.
amounted to something, and it's amounted to other people feeling happy or feeling as if they enjoyed what we've created or responded to what we made.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling really happy with it. Obviously, there's places to go. I'm not even sure about what we do next with it, but
I have no idea, and I
I'm
feel
not
like we
gonna
don't want to think
it for a
about
bit.
that
No,
for a little
so
bit.
I'm just like, I'm not even bothering with it. That's why I'm just like, I'm happy with what we've done, and I'm just gonna sit down.
I would like to write a new show.
Yeah,
I'm done with We'll Meet Again.
but we can do that.
We can still do We'll Meet Again.
But we don't need to do We'll Meet Again. Like we can give We'll Meet Again, or I could take.
I
We'll
don't
Meet Again
think
with
it
other
would
people.
work with other people.
I think it could. I feel like we
No,
could probably.
it would
find
need to
some
be
good people.
rewritten.
Yeah, no, it definitely needs to be rewritten.
Yeah.
If
I
it
don't
does
know
that,
how
but
I
I
feel
don't know.
about. I don't know how I feel about it going somewhere else.
Well,
Like I don't know how I feel about it being a piece. That's my personal opinion.
interesting.
I don't think it would sit in the right spot with anyone else.
Interesting.
It would need to do like extensive auditioning
Oh yeah.
for me to feel happy putting it in someone else's hands.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
very
that
attached
makes
to a lot
sense.
of the language, and I
Yeah.
feel very uncomfortable having someone else say some of those lines.
Interesting.
Just
yeah.
from
No,
my
for sure,
standpoint,
for
because
sure.
I'm very attached to some of the
And
dialogue.
because it's so personal, right? We
yeah.
wrote that, and it's
And
our
well, that's just some of
voices.
the dialogue that I'm like, I don't want someone else stealing that. That's mine.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not
No,
stealing
no,
it, but I
no,
don't
I know
know.
what you mean. I get that.
It just doesn't feel
That's
like
cool.
that's something I'm ready to do.
But
right now.
I think writing a new show would be fun, and I guess we'll come
Yeah.
back to that at some other point later on down the line, whatever that might be.
Or
but-
I'd want to have a really strong directorial hand in
Yes.
it if it was to go to someone else.
Yeah. No. Well, that's what I
Um,
was thinking more so in terms of like if you and I take a step back from performing it, or like
yeah,
one
if
of
we were
us
to do
direct
that
it.
we would. Yeah, but I'd want to be like 100%. Like I'd want to be that director.
Yeah.
You know, that
Like,
person
your
that's like,
person that
nah.
controls everything. And that's okay, but like I
Um,
think that as long as there's an understanding of that, and you bring people in to be like, this is how we're going to do this. This is our show.
Yeah,
this is
I don't
very
like
much
doing like
what
that
we
though. That doesn't feel like
That's
the right
fair.
way to approach it.
Yeah.
We need to we could rewrite it
We
in
can-
like
well,
a neutral
either
way.
I think that's
Yeah.
a future conversation in terms of whenever we're.
I don't know why it would need to be done by someone else though.
It doesn't need to be. It's just more that like,
Yeah.
is this a one and done thing? Are we finished with We'll Meet Again? And
No, I don't think we are. But I don't think it needs. I don't think the next step is giving it to someone else.
No, that's fair. I don't. When
The
I
next
say give
step
it to
could be
someone else, I mean
getting in a director.
Yes, that's what I meant.
But
Or,
we're
or
still
one
acting.
of us directing. Like
No,
either
but I
you
still think
direct-
we're both acting.
Oh,
Because a lot of the
interesting.
language for me
Oh, I
was
see what you
very
mean. Okay.
connected to us and was written for us.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to get in an external director because I know I personally found trying to get a lot of the movement.
Okay, actually, no,
sorted
that's
was
actually a really
challenging.
interesting.
But if we were to
idea then, yeah,
to
for
get
sure.
someone else in, I think the person we would get in would be a costume designer,
a
set designer,
lighting designer,
lighting
sound
designer,
designer. Yeah.
a sound designer definitely. Just to not that your sound was like
No,
Aaron's
I
sound
agree
was
with you.
completely fine, but like just like getting someone that was like solely like in on the tech.
There's a
and
reason
getting a
why
director.
there's crews. There's a reason
Yeah.
why crews exist. It's because it's to share the workload.
like, I don't think changing the actors is the way to go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I don't think we're not doing anything that someone else could do. Like,
I see what you mean.
I think we did a fine job in the acting. Yeah, sure, things could be tightened up, but that could be tightened up by a director having outside eyes and not us looking at each other going, Aaron, if you said that this way, this might sound better. Or Ari, maybe if you tried this. Because we can't know as actors.
Yep.
We can't, like, you can never direct a fellow actor. Like, you know, that's one of the biggest red flags where you're going like, hey, Aaron, next time you do that, can you do it this way? So that I can do this so that you can do that. It's like,
and that's fine when it's just the two of us. But as soon as you
but
bring
even
more
then, it's
people
not really
in, I mean,
fun.
yes.
Like, it's not the best way of approaching
No, that's
work.
a good point. That's a
and
good
also
point.
just makes it convoluted because then you have me going, hey, Aaron, so I want you to say this line exactly like this so I can say my line like this so that you can say your line like this so that this scene makes sense because this is how I read it in my head when I wrote it.
Yeah.
And, like, we definitely had a lot of that because, like, obviously we split the play pretty much in half in terms of who wrote what. And so there'd be moments where I was like, no, Aaron, you're not saying it the way I read it.
Yeah.
Like, there's still that one line, like the no shit for the zoo.
Yeah.
That's still never the way I meant it to be said.
No, I still don't know how it was meant to be
because it's just not something
delivered.
Aaron ever says. It's something that I say.
Yeah.
But it's just, and I've just I got to the point where I was like, I kind of like the way he's doing it.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
what
like my
I
own way.
it's not what I'd meant, like, in terms of the delivery. But and like, you know, that's, I think giving it to someone else would make it even more like. There's so many lines that are literally written for our voices.
Yeah.
That even like even
And
the
because
bits that I wrote for you were written wrong. Yeah.
it's very much you and I talking. Having other people talk like you and I
would
would
just
be really weird.
And it just doesn't flow the same way.
Yeah,
Like
for
you'd
sure.
need to we'd need to make the script incredibly. We need to pull back the script a lot and be like, you make it the way you want it, as long as you get through these points.
Yeah.
And I'd feel scared to do that
that's
safely.
worrying.
Because then it just becomes a new show. In which case we were better off just writing another show about two people in a bunker.
Yeah.
But I'd rather do something else.
Yeah, I think definitely it's also good to keep fresh and to make something new and see where we go
Stay
from there.
fresh.
So we don't know what that will be. You have any ideas for
I have some
anything?
ideas.
Oh, good. I'm glad. So yeah, for sure.
I have some thoughts.
Pitch some stuff. We'll come back to that then at the end.
Yeah. No, I want to start writing some things and see how I feel about them.
Okay,
first.
fair enough. So we won't manifest anything yet. We'll come back and talk about it later.
We can do another podcast.
Yeah. Later
where
on.
we just talk about new ideas because I feel like that's going to take me a long time to talk about.
For sure.
I don't want to just like shove in a few of my new ideas.
Yeah,
now.
that's okay.
But I do have a few.
Keep them ruminating. Keep them working.
I have a few.
That's good.
Few thoughts.
Very glad.
That I think would be cool to do.
But yeah, so the show we were pretty much done and moving on into Auckland as well. So it was like we had basically 6 or 7 days off until we had to leave. So
I'm really not sitting well today.
You and I have switched. See, I've happily got a really good.
No, you're always dead still, but you just jiggle.
My legs, yeah.
I mean, I know I've
My
always
money
moved around
don't
'cause
jiggle.
I'm always apologizing for the beanbag crunching, but I
That's
just can't work out how I normally I'm sitting cross-legged and I'm not able to sit
Yeah.
cross-legged at the moment. It's fine.
You know,
This is fine. I'm comfy
riding
now.
in my Fiat. You really hate stuff.
Anyway, so yeah, now that it's done. Well, so I mean, I don't have any thoughts really to add to how I feel about it being done. Just like, oh yeah, it's done.
It's finished.
Where's it
it's
gonna go next?
interesting,
I don't know.
I was talking to people who had followed our journey from the podcast.
Oh yeah.
And how interesting it was for them to be like I remember when we talked about it when we talked about the show for the first time, or like when I was driving home with someone getting pizzas and was talking about the idea for We'll Meet Again before we even talked about it on the podcast, and then now it's a real thing that has been created and put in front of people, and I think that's really cool because I struggle with this a lot of finishing projects.
This is true. He does.
Yeah, and so this idea that you've helped me put something out there in a physical form has made me go, well, now like I've done that, like I've done it, and it's now a physical thing, and it's no longer a one day I'll make a show. It's I've done a show. We did a show. We did a show together, and
I think doing stuff with other people helps that
absolutely,
though.
it does.
Like I obviously doing stuff on your own is a lot harder, and that's what sort of happens when you don't finish things. But like when you do someone else, you pick up where the other person gets bored.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
And you push each
and then when
other
you
when
both get
one's down,
bored,
yeah.
you just have a few weeks where nothing happens, and
then one of you eventually picks up because when he goes, we
somehow
should be doing
works out.
something.
Anyway,
But yeah,
that's enough chat about.
I don't think we need to talk about anything
We
else.
can do something. We can.
I don't really have anything else to say about it.
I don't at this stage, mainly because I haven't really thought about it, and I
But-
thought we were
but
just going to talk
also-
about Auckland, so I wasn't prepared for Will
Oh,
Meet Again.
sorry, but
No, that's okay.
one more thing then on that is thank you at home
Oh, this is wholesome.
for following us through this. You know, for those of you who have listened to every episode, for those of you who have tuned in every now and again, for those of you who pretend to listen and say, "Oh, how's that podcast going?" Also,
Shout
thank
out to
you.
those folks.
Shout out to
We
those
love
folk
you.
as well. We
Those
love
folk
every
who put it
single one
on
of you.
just to, pretend
Those
they-
folk who came to We'll Meet Again knowing literally nothing about the podcast or us or anything like that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to those humans.
It's been quite a journey. So no matter what level of the journey you bought in on, we appreciate you following us and being there. So thank you for that. Anyways, we were in New Zealand for a bit.
Well, that took that decelerated quickly.
Yeah, so we went on this other tour after We'll Meet Again, for our other theatre stuff that we do.
Yeah, to the Auckland Fringe.
Yeah, to the Auckland Fringe.
So you might remember us talking about the Adelaide Fringe about 5 months ago. There's a link to that video up in this corner as well.
I don't know how many videos you can put up in the corner. I actually don't know.
Can you not? I thought it was just like a regular thing where you could just keep putting them up there.
Well,
I swear people do that all the time.
But it's usually just the one.
Check out this video, or here, look here below for this video, or head to their channel to check out this. Like, I swear that's a thing. I clearly don't watch enough YouTube for this. Like, yeah, I don't. The YouTube I watch is like trailers for like musicals.
Yeah, that's good.
Or like
they don't do that in the musical trailer. Go, hey, check out this video for this other musical.
No, they surprisingly don't.
That's a shame.
So
Auckland Fringe.
If you could do that, it's there. If you couldn't do that, it's like episode number. I'm gonna guess. I reckon it's episode number 5 of the YouTube.
Cool.
That's my stab.
Which
would be like
editing
40 something.
Is she right?
Yes, she is. Actually, I know. Hang on one.
Oh, you could look it up.
This is why I have my laptop here. We're not actually using it for anything. It's purely aesthetic. It currently has fake waveforms.
That's what we were talking about before.
I can feel happy about myself.
It costs $14 to buy on stock
So
images.
what am I looking for again?
I'm just go to our YouTube channel. Yes.
Candid much.
RNG.live.
Looking at my yoga. Yoga.
You're not subscribed? No, I'm kidding.
I am. Look, it's subscribed.
I know. I just
Can you imagine if I wasn't? Look, I'm like pretended to watch the videos. What am I looking for? Episode.
Which one is it? Which one did we talk about Adelaide?
But I think I might be right. No, episode. Where is episode 5? It's not there. Episode 5. Never say never. No, I know which one. I had short hair post or Adelaide, so it's the first one I have short hair. So I think it's a Fringe and Review.
Oh, of course.
8. So I was a bit off.
It's literally called Fringe and Review. That's really good. I'm glad we have good titles because I was worried
that
we were
going
to be like, that one's not going to be good.
For example, More Crackling Than a Pork Bun Me.
Come on, that one's pretty good.
Shout out to me for that title.
That one's pretty good.
But it's pretty useless. But it doesn't mean anything.
What was the last one called?
Really Milking It.
Really Milking It. That was also pretty good.
That was yours.
The matcha lattes.
My matcha. Oh man, I was missing my matcha lattes in Auckland. I had 2 of the sum total. Auckland, you all need to pick up your matcha game. Not every place has matcha.
Needs to pick up its game, period. I think.
Let's not. Okay, the goal in this episode is to not completely slam Auckland.
I actually had a really great time. I think Auckland was really fun. And I think most of that was because we went with a great group of people. So no matter where we went, we had a good time.
Yeah.
But it was just that like otherwise, Auckland doesn't have a lot to offer, and I think that's not Auckland's fault. There's a lot.
It's okay, Auckland. It's not your fault. It's not you. It's me.
It's me. It's not you.
But it's not. It is you.
But it's also you. You're still recovering from COVID. I get that. It's difficult to get people to get out nowadays. You're in
I don't even know if it was that though.
No, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt.
Really?
I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, sure. I'm still struggling with this whole seating thing. I don't know if it was COVID. Basically, Auckland to me felt like a ghost town. There was nothing happening.
Next play.
Yeah, there you go. Ghost town. Nothing was happening after 9 p.m. except on Fridays and Saturdays, and even then, it was like limited to about 3 clubs, and everyone kind of followed each other.
Yeah.
Not really a problem with that. Probably saved us from losing our voices.
True.
Because we literally had bars entirely to ourselves after shows.
Yeah.
Like entirely. It was like we'd rented venues. I mean, it was kind of cool. Like not complaining.
Yeah, that's the kind of.
But
the point.
also like kind of complaining. Like where are the cool people at?
Yeah.
Like Auckland, where are you all at? I was keen to make friends, but
ended up
even in the hostel. So I stayed in hostels in the first and the last half of my trip. At the YMCA, like. No one communicated much at all. I mean, okay, that's a lie. They did a bit. But, like, we're just nowhere near as, like, pally as it sometimes can be. Like, even in Adelaide, like, the last few days when I was in, like, a hostel but in a private room, like, we still made friends.
Yeah.
I was in a freaking 12-person bunk, and I had a conversation with one other person.
Wow.
People just didn't want to chat. I'm like, so what are you all doing tomorrow? And they're like, meh. I'm like, oh, okay. No one wants to come with me to the, wherever. Because, like,
zoo?
my whole plan was to befriend someone and go on like
adventures.
yeah that was entirely my plan. I was like, can someone please drag me along on their adventures so that I don't have to adventure? Mainly because I also didn't have data. I feel like that's
Oh,
an
yeah.
important discussion.
I still don't know why you didn't think to get some sort of sim or anything
I didn't
like
want
that.
one.
No,
I
that's
enjoyed
fair.
the challenge
But
of
you
having
didn't
no data.
go there expecting to not have data.
Oh, I did.
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
you knew that you.
I knew I could have it if I wanted to. I just knew it would cost money.
Okay.
Because I could turn my roaming on, but I didn't. I chose not
Okay.
to. I only hovered around when there was Wi-Fi, and it was great. It was a very liberating experience. It meant I had to
Absolutely
get around entirely on maps, and not even the saved version of the map because I was keeping it extra challenging.
Really
And
doubled down, didn't you?
I survived 2 days on my own. I went all the way to a beach
Yeah, that's true. That was good.
on my own.
Fun.
No,
But-
this was the different beach. Not
Yeah,
the beach
not that
with
one
you.
we went to. Another one. Was it
Yeah.
a nice one?
It was
The
a
one we
real.
went to
This was an
not
actual
very
good
nice.
beach.
Okay, good.
So Aaron and I went to a beach because we were up there a little bit early. We walked on like a literal
pier.
wild goose chase. That was the definition of a wild goose chase to a beach.
Well, we went
That
to get food first, which was good. Like,
we
that
had
was worth
great
the wild
food.
goose chase.
Holy moly! Insert photo of food
Speaking
here.
of, like, as much as
I'm
Auckland
making your
was a
editing
ghost
life
town,
painful.
the ghost town has really good food. I feel like I didn't eat
But
anything
also
there.
none of it was open. Like every
But, like,
second restaurant was
But all
open.
the food that we ate, I thought was of pretty good quality. Like, and I don't know whether we just
Yeah,
got
but
the
I
good
wouldn't
spots.
say it was better than Melbourne.
No, that's true. But here's the photos. Look at all these photos. If you were on our Instagram and followed our Instagram, then you would have seen the photos of
This
all
is
of
true.
our food.
Aaron was doing reviews and
For a
stuff.
good
I was
3
not.
days there before I stopped posting because we were busy.
Yeah,
I was posting
shows.
all the food and the shows that we saw and everything. And I
What was
wish
your favorite bit of food that you ate there?
I was thinking about this the other day. To think about
I
what
wasn't,
was the
but I'm going to
best thing
think
that
about
I
it now,
ate.
so I have an answer when
'Cause
you're
this is
done.
all I think about is food. So what was the best meal I had while I was there was probably what was it? That Korean was pretty good.
The
soup that
Korean,
we
the
had.
soup? Yeah, that was actually pretty good. That would
was
be up
pretty
the
good.
top
that
of
would,
my...
That would be within the those are the ones that come to mind. Is that Korean is definitely one of those. The duck,
I had some pancakes on Waiheke Island. They were pretty good
Ooh.
pancakes.
the Peking duck we had was also pretty good.
We had Peking duck.
Not the Peking duck, the duck pancakes we ate.
Oh yeah,
Those were
totally
good.
forgot we had that meal.
Those were good.
I was eating that meal way too fast because we were about to go to see a show, so I didn't have time to properly enjoy it.
The yogurt rice boba.
Holy moly! If y'all like, I need to stop saying y'all.
No, I like y'all. It's
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, that's why I've said it. But then someone called me up on it the other day.
Why?
I don't know who it was. Who was it? Does
Who
somebody
are
know?
you?
Someone laughed at me for saying y'all.
Yeah.
I know who it was. I'll tell you about it later.
Okay. You know, y'all out there gonna be
so
getting those
in
damn thing
Auckland,
food.
on like night one, we're like meandering through the streets, and because I have a big appetite and Aaron has a small appetite, I was still hungry after dinner. And so we're wandering around, and I was like, I'm just going to get whatever's open. And nothing is open. Nothing. I realized I should be addressing this camera because you probably cut by now. See, I've forgotten how to podcast. Nothing is open. Nothing. So, except for this weird little place on the corner. I was like, what is this? It's called Yogost or something.
Yoga.
Yogost, because it's yogurt.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's see. And I read closer, and it was like rice yogurt bubble tea. And I was like, what? Like, yes, I love me some tapioca pearls. 2, love me some yogurt. 3, love me some flavored version of that's in a drink form that you can drink out of a straw in a cool cup. So I got one, and holy moly, my life was changed. Really should have gotten one before I left. I got
a fruit one.
Oh,
on
yes.
the day we did our picnic. Picnic was also up there in terms of food, just because it was a good vibe. Even though the food wasn't good, eating the food with everyone was.
That pasta was great.
The pasta was really good.
But yogurt.
Yeah,
very
the
funky.
fruit one that I got was.
That's cool.
Was
Yeah.
Because you got the normal pearl one, right? You got the milk
brown sugar
whiskey
one.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I got like a breakfasty.
Yeah.
Like a strawberries and cream one.
Oh, funky.
It was so good.
It was really interesting. I've never had that before. I don't know if Melbourne has it. I'm going to do some research to find out if Melbourne has it. In fact,
We'll do it
I'm
live.
going to do some live research right about now.
This is great. We can like actually bring up like real,
So,
as opposed to just going like, Editor Aaron, what's going on? How are you doing? And he's like,
Hi,
I'm Editor Aaron. I'm gonna do some funny cutaways.
Melbourne. Tell me more though. Are you in Melbourne? That doesn't sound like Melbourne. That sounds like a Victoria Park, Northbridge. No, that sounds like Perth. 6102. That's a Perth.
Nah,
that's a Perth.
that's way far away. We don't go
Well,
all
that's
that
a little
way.
sad.
Perth is further out than New Zealand.
This is true. Well, that's a bit of a shame. I can probably make it myself though. Like we can just make some. Well, stay tuned. Maybe we'll do
a video making yogurt.
Careful,
and
let's
rice
not dox ourselves into doing too much that we're not like time or mentally
The
prepared
year's
to.
done for me. I got nothing else to do for the next 3 months, so
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
I'm finished.
so that was a fun little thing we ate.
Yeah, the food was
What I
was a
don't
ton.
like about not having our waveform here is I can't see how long we've been talking for.
I don't know how long we've been going for either.
Doesn't
That'll
matter.
probably say on
Anyway,
that thing.
moving
But
on.
we're not restricting to time.
No,
here.
I'm just more like I
Everyone's
don't
so
want to talk.
desperate to
I
see
just
us, so
don't
they
want to
can do-
talk for 2 hours because they all had to just watch a 2-hour documentary.
I
If
don't
you
think we'll
didn't
talk
sit
for 2
through all
hours.
2 hours, go back and sit through all 2 hours.
I didn't want it to be that long. I thought it was gonna be like
I cut
70
2 minutes off it.
Yeah, I know, but still, the 2 minutes of 2 hours is not that much.
I'm pretty sure I cut 2 minutes by accidentally putting one section of both of us in 1.25 speed
then
because I was
you-
trying to go forward and
But
backward.
then you also
I cut out one of my bits.
added your extra bit.
I added
which-
so many extra bits,
yeah.
2 extra bits.
No, but like in terms of adding.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
no,
added
but that's
more
the thing. I
footage.
added 2
Yeah.
footage bits.
Oh, of course, you added the wee wee I'm the chef as well.
Oh, 3 then,
3.
because I added a higher. It's edited to
Yeah,
Ari,
edited
and then I
Ari.
added my Heather's lyrics.
Oh yes, that's
and then I
right.
also added the wee wee the chef
the wee wee
bit,
I am the chef.
and then I got rid of only one tiny bit of mine.
Yeah.
And then I think I put a whole chunk, probably like a 3-minute chunk of us in 1.25 speed. But
Yeah.
because we already talk like at 1.25 speed, no one probably noticed
No
that it
one
was at
probably
1.5
noticed
speed. So
It's
there you
okay.
go. Perks of
Yeah.
being a fast talker.
Perks of being a fast talker, title of my autobiography.
Maybe that's the episode title.
Yeah, that's true.
Although that has literally nothing to do with Auckland and will confuse
Well, I
us
was
when
gonna
we
call this episode "The End of an Era" because I thought it was like a
That's so dark.
poetic.
Oh, poetic.
Because it's like it's the end of an era.
Yeah.
which
I
thought
like
was-
perks of being a fast talker.
Okay, I think that's.
No, I'm kidding. You
funnier.
can keep an end of the era.
Why don't we name it both? The perks of being a fast.
It sounds
talker,
like
the end
perks of being an
a
a wallflower.
You seen that movie? Have you read that book?
Wallflower. Yes, I've seen
Yeah.
and watched. I mean, read.
Yeah.
Because Emma Watson's in it.
Yes. So
That is why I watched it.
before they were problematic. But that's okay. That movie's fun. I like that movie.
Anyway,
Yeah. So
sip the tea.
what else?
This
What
isn't
else did we
tea's
do
water.
in Auckland? We won a couple awards, which was nice.
Yeah, we did.
Our costume designer won an award for her costumes, and shout out to her. We love her. She's
Mwah.
very, very good. And we also won because we had
multi-generational
people from the
award
ages of 10
because
to 17.
12, 12,
12
not
to
10.
70.
12 to 17.
Which is great. Like that's awesome.
Um,
That's one of the greatest things about our company is how vast we all are in terms.
Yeah. Anyway,
Age.
tell us about the shows we saw, Aaron.
Of,
Kick us off.
Okay. So.
Kick us off. I mean, if you've been on our Instagram, you've probably got a few of them.
And it's
but,
okay. We can go back and forth because I think there are some that I think you are more
willing to talk about.
better. I think it's better you talk.
I
about
think I should talk
something
about
than
vivid dreaming.
Yes, that's what
I think you should
that's
talk
kind
about.
of what I meant.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
So I can talk about everything else.
You can
then?
talk about everything else. Oh, I wouldn't mind talking about slot songs. I think I could talk
so
about
I think
that as well.
so. I can do.
Okay, we're just gonna
Yeah.
do it. You go.
So the first the first show we saw was called. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say what
Are
it
we allowed
was.
to say this?
I was.
Bleep it. Just bleep it. It's a post.
Yeah, the first show I show was and it was absolutely garbage.
Was trash, mate.
It was shit.
I was showing,
it was so shit.
I was showing my papa this morning. Actually, we can go talk to him about it.
Yeah.
But I was showing my papa this morning snippets from their Facebook page, and I'm worried I gave them too much of a following. Like I gave them too much engagement, and I'm disappointed in myself. But I just got too much down the rabbit hole of the terribleness of what it was.
So the thing I said to Ari, which was my very overly pretentious and not very funny, but funny to me kind of justification of what we saw was, I was like, what we just saw was an immersive horror experience where you and I were the only 2 actual audience members, and there were 2 people performing, and everyone else in the audience were also actors laughing at what was objectively terrible performance. So we were both sitting there going, are we going insane? Like, what is like? Are we like?
I genuinely
just
thought I was
sitting
going
there-
insane.
Like, are we sitting there being like? I was like, what's happening? Like, do I just have no taste anymore? Like, am I just? Is this like? It's like a nightmare where I'm like, I've questioned literally we walked out of it, and I was like, I don't think I could ever perform again. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm finished with this with theater.
He
If
walked
that's
all
what-
the way. He walked all the way back to my hostel with me just so we could like
we could
debrief
talk about it. And because I was like, if that's what people can do and get a reaction, like, was We'll Meet Again trash and people just liked it because they're like that garbage? Like,
Yeah.
it
Although
fully
keeping in
spiraled me.
mind that everyone else in the audience was probably about 4 drinks deep,
That's
and we'd
true.
had nothing.
We had
We'd
nothing.
just had dinner,
We'd had dinner.
and it was a good dinner,
Very nice
and
dinner.
it wasn't enough to temper the poor humor, shall we say. And on that note, I don't think we're going to discuss it anymore
No.
because it will.
I don't like talking about bad things.
I just don't think it's worth
The
it.
next
Like
show
it
we
was just
saw
bad.
was I'm going to shout this one out. It was called Rich People Cry Too and Other Things I Learned from Telenovela, and I loved it.
It was fantastic.
was
I thought it was beautiful.
which was perfect
Yeah.
because it came after the first show that we saw, but that I think we needed that low to hit for that to hit so high.
Yeah.
Because I watched it and I was like, this is so amazingly good. I loved watching it, and it was so well written. The pacing was
yeah.
great. The main actress, who was also the writer, the performance was awesome, and it's such a personal story, and it was so raw and like real. And I sat there and I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
So
It was very
really loved that one.
inspirational to me.
Yeah.
It was something that I looked at and I was like, not in like a pretentious like I can do that kind of way.
But I thought that
something that
too.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh hey, she's doing 3 things that I feel like she did movement, which I thought,
Yeah.
hey, I've never felt comfortable working out how to put. I've always felt like, oh, I don't know how to fit movement into the stuff I want to do, and but like that's my strength. I would
Yeah.
say like movement theater, physical theater. She fit that in with what I would consider like a version of stand-up comedy.
Yeah, for sure.
And then basically poetry.
Poetry.
I
I sat there and I was like, I can
like,
see Ari.
I could
it was so
like
interesting.
that is a genre
Yeah.
of whatever you call whatever that fits under, because it's all 3 of those things.
Yeah.
It's not a physical theater piece. It's not a stand-up comedy piece.
It's not poetic.
And what made me happy was like I feel like often shows that combine physical theater and words tend to be a bit pretentious, and people kind of feel like I don't really get it. It's confusing me. Blah 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 blah. And it's not usually doesn't usually have comedic elements, but
Yeah.
she managed to put comedy in it, which is something that I'd want to do a lighthearted piece. I wouldn't, and it wasn't like, but like not lighthearted in a nothing matters from it.
No.
Like in a there's still substance, and there
But
was
that's what I
definitely
really
substance.
liked about her show was that it
And she was
didn't-
speaking Spanish, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Hi, hello, I speak Spanish." Like there was just so much in it that I was like, I can incorporate all this into a
Yeah.
work as well.
Yeah.
And I can take that and run.
And I
with
love the way in which it was like the way in which she broke it up into specific. Like it was signposted really well. The structure of the show, I was
Yeah.
like, I know, I like.
it was very clever.
Yeah, it was
for
really well
herself
written.
as well
Yeah,
to keep herself
absolutely.
on track. I think.
Yeah, it's a great way to kind of remind yourself, I'm in this mode and I'm moving to the next one, and keep you like.
It
moving-
made me feel like a one-woman show is something that I'm more interested in than I thought.
Yeah.
I've always been like, oh God, no, I would never do that. That sounds like my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
But it made me kind of go, I wonder if I could actually do something.
Yeah.
I feel like I have an interest. And the good thing about, and what it kind of reminded me was that you can really use your life. Like she very much used her life, I'm assuming. Like again, can't speak for the writer, but it felt very personal and very like, this is my story, I'm telling my story. And I just wonder what that would look like for me.
I'm not sure how many of you out there have like, you know, I think I don't know if you've seen these, but Hassan Minhaj's stand-up show, it's called Homecoming King, which is basically him telling his life story. It's not similar, it's more stand-up and more specifically stand-up, but there is this new era in stand-up where comedians will do a much more personal, it's more storytelling than it is comedy.
I really like that.
I love it.
I think it's cool.
Mike Birbiglia does it. Hassan Minhaj does it. Hannah Gatsby's more recent stuff is like that. Jared Carmichael's most recent special is that. And it's basically them just sitting down being like, I'm going to use the format of stand-up comedy, but also add poetic elements and add more traditional theatrical elements to create basically like an autobiography of me talking through my life story or an event that happened to me in a way that's funny, heartfelt, dramatic. And it's a one person show.
I think it's cool.
I think her show, Rich People Cry Too, really evoked that same levels. All of the best versions of that. I was like, oh, this fits within that genre of personalized storytelling that I love.
But it was also like absurdist in a way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was like, there's so much absurdism.
Yeah.
But it's like a healthy dose of absurdism where you're not like, sorry, come again? Like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
Like enough to make you laugh, feel comfortable, but then also feel uncomfortable, feel put on the spot, but then not put on the spot. Like, maintain the fourth wall, but break it.
Yep.
Like, I was like, girl, you killed it.
Yeah.
Like, you nailed that.
Very good.
Yeah, so that was cool. That was really cool.
Yeah. I don't think we saw anything else that night. I saw some comedy.
That was
but
our triple
I
header.
saw. Oh, was it?
Wasn't it? Or was the following day our triple header? I
think
lied. The following day was our
so
triple header.
I saw a improv group that
Oh, yeah,
night,
you did
and they were okay. They were also pretty funny, but they, it's just improv. Like the thing about improv is if you retell the jokes, they're not as funny because they're only funny because they make them up on the spot. So it was good. I enjoyed that. But the day after we did our triple header, which we started off with Vivid Dreaming.
We started. Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah,
that
which
was
is
one
a
of the most
ballet
beautiful
piece.
pieces I've seen. The first half I really understood. The second half I got a bit lost in. There was so it was split into two halves essentially.
Yeah.
Two. The
separate
only way I
pieces.
could like it was literally 2 separate performances.
Yeah.
One was a group of 3 and the other was a pair. And it was physical theatre, it was physical dance drama.
Yeah.
In the realm of contemporary, almost lyrical, but definitely with a strong emphasis on like physical theatre. With a fantastic soundtrack and soundscape, and whoever created that, shout out to you, that was brilliant. the first piece was very easy to follow. I felt was very easy to get to understand, and I didn't read the synopsis prior to it. And when I read the synopsis, I was like, oh yeah, that lines up with what I was kind of getting out of it. It was very simplistic, but they had a lot of like repetitive movements that came back around. It was really, 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 really cool. Don't need to talk about it any more than that, other than But the second half was the bit that I didn't quite get as well as I actually got a completely different story. I made a point of not reading the synopsis until the end and then seeing whether I was right. Got a completely different story to what the synopsis said. It was still beautiful in a weird kind of way, but I didn't get exactly
what the intention
I didn't get the
was.
synopsis.
Yeah.
I missed it completely. Or not completely, but I went on in one direction and they went in a different direction, and I'm still not sure about elements of it. I think that's probably more from something that I was uncomfortable with about it. There was a lot of dribbling of liquid that was involved, which makes me feel, and lots of fingers and mouths, and that was something that to me is like
weird thing.
Yeah, I don't enjoy watching that necessarily, but some people might, and definitely would. But other than that, it was very, very beautiful. And they actually won the dance award.
Yeah, I think that was.
So I'm glad about that. Although, mind you, Aaron did come out going, "What was that?
So
I didn't like it."
After the first performance, I turned to Ari and I said, "I actually think I've like found my, like the one thing that I don't get."
Yeah.
Like and it wasn't that I thought it was bad, but I just was like, I actually don't know what to think about this at all. Like, but like quite literally, I was like, I couldn't comprehend it in a way that I was like, this is so outside of my depth and outside of my wheelhouse that I don't even think I have, like, I don't think I can even confidently say that it was bad. Like I just sat there and I was like, I have no idea what's going on. Like literally.
I got that though from him. Like I was like, Aaron's lost.
And like, look, the cynic, and I go, okay, so I was bored, but I think I was just bored because I was just so confused that I sat there and I was like, oh. And I like to think of myself as someone who has some, like, you know, I know theater and I know performances, and I feel like I didn't expect to just sit there and be like, I'm like, is this what people? Because people sometimes will say to me, "Oh, you're like, oh, you know, I don't know how." Like every time I think about it, I watch a movie, I just don't think about it. And I'm like, I don't know how you do that. And I'm like, oh, is that what they just watch something and they're like, all right, and they walk off? Because that's how I thought. I was like, yeah, like that was something that I experienced. That's it. That's it. I have not. I don't know what it means. I don't know what to think about it. I don't know how it affected me.
I have a question. Did you follow any kind of story?
Not
like
the first one. The first one I didn't.
But
the
you had a
second one I
story for the
got
second
more.
one?
Which is what's interesting. We kind of flipped where.
But did you get the story that they were telling?
No, I didn't get even story either of them were telling. I read the synopsis and I was like, I just thought the second one was Romeo and Juliet. That's all I got.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because of the whole ending of them like coming together and doing that thing. I was like, and maybe that's also because we were doing a Romeo and Juliet, that was fresh in my mind. But that was all I got from the second one. The first one, I was like, I had no idea what's going on.
The first one was the most obvious one.
Yeah, no, I mean like. And I remember saying to you afterwards, I was like, I trust if you think that's good, I trust that it's good, because I honestly have no idea if that was anything.
And then I remember they won an award, and
they
Aaron
won
turned
Best
to
Dance.
me and was like, okay, I trust you now.
Yeah, I was like if they won Best Dance and Ari thinks it's good, I believe that was a good performance, because I have literally no idea.
But I did think it was very, very cool.
I'm glad.
But keeping in mind that it is a genre that I spent about 3 years like working on.
Yeah, possibly.
Like I have done a lot of.
And while I do like
actual
watching
theoretical
dance,
study.
I don't know anything about dance, and the only thing I really know is ballet.
Yeah.
And that wasn't ballet.
There were elements.
I was like, "There's no, I don't know where's the
There were no point shoes, but there were balletic elements.
Yeah, there were balletic elements, but I was like, this isn't Swan Lake. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. But yeah. Anyway, I still it was interesting.
Good. And then the third show we saw that day was probably one of my highlights. Oh no, second show. Wait, hang on. What order did we go in?
The middle one we saw was Stock Take.
Oh yeah, that second show was my highlight. Yeah. The third show I forgot was
the third show we didn't see. The third show we just went to the comedy club. Remember?
Yeah, but that was still a seat. That's
okay.
It was a show. Same
but
different. We saw a show called Gay Death Stock Take. This is one that I've been wanting to go to since it was probably the first one that I pinned on my list of things I wanted to go to.
Yeah.
It was an improvised piece where the writer set up a room full of numbered balloons with basically activities and
questions and stuff.
A queer identifying 30. I think they had to be in their 30s or nearly 30.
Yeah.
Man
I think
had to had to come into the room. Like obviously they've been told they're going to do this. Come into their room blindfolded and basically do it all and like talk into the mic
Within
and
an
explain
hour, yeah.
within an hour
Had to go
and
from 1 to 30.
go from 1 to 30 of the balloons and the activities. It was audience engagement, audience involvement. We had to write our own things. We had to talk to like people next to us. We had to
Suck on a
put
lollipop.
our suck on a lollipop, put our hands up for questions that you probably wouldn't normally expose yourself
Especially in a
for
public space.
in front of public spaces. It was so funny.
But it was so well crafted. as a
I wish I
performance
was
piece.
up there doing
Yes,
it.
yeah.
It was one of those things where I was like, I'm
You get
getting performance envy
yeah.
so
I
bad.
totally
Like
get that.
I was like, can someone please write one for like a 20-something-year-old woman,
Yeah.
please, so
You
that I can
should.
do it. Oh my god, that's a really good idea. But I want to be the performer.
You can, but you can. Remember the writer performed it.
Yeah, but
It
the
started
thing
off
with
as a
that is it
one-man
wouldn't be
show.
the same. It wouldn't be anywhere near the same
Okay,
if
that's
I'd
fair.
crafted my own activity. The part that was amazing was him reading the activities and
Yeah.
going, "Sorry, what?"
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. But either way.
I could so. Oh, okay. Yep. This may happen.
Anyway.
Um,
But it was really, really good.
it was.
It
It
was
was
so
funny. I had a great time.
And the writer was there, and then obviously we saw the writer.
writer was not there.
Or wasn't at our performance?
No.
Oh, I don't know. But either way, we saw the writer at the awards ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they received a bunch of awards, which was great. But it's a really, really interesting way to see how that level of like improvised performance can be done.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anything like that before.
No.
But I was like, this is such an awesome avenue.
It was really
to
cool.
Do stuff. Yeah.
Like what a cool concept.
It's fun.
Like that's what the Fringe is about for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Not about that. Like that first show we saw, wasn't it? This one like was the right amount of absurdity where I was like, what a cool concept.
Yeah.
Fringe it was perfect for Fringe. It fit in so well. It cleaned up a bunch of the awards because of it. Deserved to be there. Deserves an audience. Deserves not just a queer audience as well. Like it was. I'd say it was very relevant, very applicable to like everyone. And yeah, if it's touring ever again, go see it. It's worth your while.
It'd be a really easy show to tour.
It would be
because
such
you
an
don't
easy show
need
to-
it-
And
yeah,
you can use people from whatever country you're touring
Exactly.
to. You basically just put a casting call out for queer men in their 30s.
Yep.
And boom, done.
easy.
Like
And there's enough of those.
yeah. There's plenty
Enough
of
of
those.
those all over the world.
And lots that would love to get on stage,
yeah.
I'm sure, and basically just have an hour where you can
Run
go
around
on some
stage.
weird scavenger hunt, stand-up comedy, poetic, physical, vulnerable adventure.
I loved the cleverest part of it to me though was the ending when
Oh,
the letter
my
comes
heart
down. Yeah. And so basically the
broke.
whole idea is that like
so many tears. I was like, why do I have
Yeah.
a mask on? I can't
there's
cry.
so there's obviously each balloon in 1 to 30 has a page of instructions, and at the very end, after the timer goes off and you run out of time, a balloon falls from the sky, basically from the rafters,
From a trapdoor.
From a trapdoor. And it's a letter written by a friend of the actor who has
Or a partner.
or a partner. Or
I think in
someone-
this
or I
context
think
it was a
like
partner.
a partner or someone who
Mm-hmm.
writes about the performer, because obviously this whole show is about them, and in this case it's kind of impersonal because they're vague questions that anyone can answer, but then they have to read out
Out loud.
this letter that somebody has written for them specifically
Written about
them, and it's this beautiful
Not for them, about them. Yeah.
basically about and it was so, and I was like, oh,
It's
that's
so moving.
so moving, which
It's-
comes at the
yeah.
end of this otherwise very absurd and funny and
Chaotic.
chaotic
Like
piece.
chaotic is the
But
energy
it just
for
kind of brings in this home of like of this idea of like the idea of gay death and being that like there's here's an importance, and here's a personal connection, and here's
Yeah.
the heart at the core of this show. I thought was great.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah, very, very well done.
Anyway, that was that show.
Yeah.
And then we went to go see
We
comedy
went
at
to
a
see
comedy
some
club.
comedy. We saw some comedy.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was
good
good.
comedy, it was good
Some good stuff,
variety.
some stuff.
That's the
Some
thing
stuff,
about
a
stand-up.
thing that I thought was terrible and Aaron thought was amazing.
I thought it was really good because I thought it was intentional, but apparently it wasn't intentional, and it was just like bad.
But
yeah.
each to his own.
Yeah. It's interesting how much I justified it as a.
Well,
as a
you were
really
what I wondered was, were you just justifying it because then you met the person who thought they were a cool person, and then you realized they were a less cool person, and then started unjustifying yourself?
Remember when we were walking out and I said, that.
I thought you said it was terrible. That
No,
was
no,
my
no,
initial
because-
memory, but I think that was just Rance and I saying it was terrible.
Yeah, no, because I remember saying, because I said as soon as we were walking out, I was like, oh, that reminds me a lot of like Anthony Jeselnik, who's one of my favorite stand-ups. Who is he's a dark comedian.
Yeah.
And his whole thing is that like is that kind of shock humor type.
Yeah.
Challenge.
But it
in the
wasn't even
form.
like shock humor. It was just bad.
But I thought it was like this interesting challenge of the form, but it wasn't that. It was just someone.
It was just bad.
It was just someone not knowing the conventions of stand-up comedy.
No, it wasn't
and-
even that. It
yeah,
was just someone that
not- it just
literally
wasn't
couldn't
good.
care less,
Yeah.
had way too many drinks and was given a microphone.
Yeah.
That's the way I describe it. Anyway, we're moving on. We don't talk about
We
bad
don't
stuff.
talk about that. It's done. What else? We saw another show. I saw another show on Wednesday.
Tell us about that.
So this is another show that I will not name. That was 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Thank God I didn't go.
It said on that it was 90 minutes. That was gonna have a 10-minute intermission. 75 minutes later, the first interval starts, and we're all sitting there being like, "What the hell? We need to, like." One of us wanted to go home, and I don't blame that person.
I would have gone home.
Yeah, and I don't blame that person, but we felt bad, you know? Like, I was like, come on, we're here to support artists. And then we sat down for another 55 minutes of a second
And you
act.
were like, should have left.
And I was like, we
shoulda,
should
coulda,
have left.
woulda.
But anyway, that was, oh man, I can't even, like the first show we saw at
Also,
least
just
had-
confirming, this was a play that's written being put on, right?
Yes.
That's a very rare thing at the Fringe.
Yeah,
That doesn't tend to
absolutely it is.
happen.
But it was
heaps.
what was
It does
really
happen.
weird is that this play is well received. It's well regarded. And I think it was done poorly.
Done poorly? Yeah.
Which is a shame. But unlike the first show we saw, where at least you and I had some fun trash talking it during the performance, because it was this kind of like live-ish type thing where we can, mutter to each other during a performance.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that during this play. So we just had to sit there for 75 minutes and I was like, and I couldn't sit still for the second act. I was like, oh. I was being an absolutely terrible audience member, because that's the thing. It's like, obviously, like, you. Someone's having a bad day.
Hello.
But yeah,
Just talk from here now.
that show was not good. I think it was worse than the first one we saw, because at least the first one we saw was only 50 minutes.
Yeah, that is true. We knew
It
we were going
wasn't
to get out of
twice
there.
as long, and boring.
Yeah,
So-
I cannot believe you sat for that long through a show.
Man. But other than that, I don't think I saw anything else. We didn't see anything else.
Yes, we did. We saw one more show. You forgot
Oh yes,
one.
sorry. Excuse me. Go ahead.
We saw a show called Slut Songs.
We didn't talk about this, you and I.
Oh, we kind of didn't really have an opportunity
No,
to.
it's good.
yeah.
We can talk about it now, because I don't think we had a chat.
Slut Songs, songs about sluttery.
Yeah.
You know, it was probably one of my favorite shows I saw at the Fringe.
Yeah.
Rich People Cry 2 probably just topped it, but just because of like
That I think
different-
was the best
different.
show I saw. But yeah.
But was a one-woman show. Who?
There's a trend in the best shows we saw at the
Yeah,
Fringe
this
being
is
one-woman
true.
shows.
Shout out to
Interesting
all the
about that.
one-women shows out there.
Yeah.
A woman with a guitar and a story to tell. Or just a live. It was very interesting. I had no idea what to expect. Part of me was going, oh, it's going to be like a weird burlesque strip show, kind of like.
That would have been cool.
I don't know if that would have been the right energy.
No,
though.
but it would have been cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it would have suited that show.
No. But it was really cool. It was just really like, it was like a chat about like, it was like a
It's like a lecture.
Yeah. Well, she was an
Well, she's- yeah,
anthropologist,
so she
which
is-
I was like, cool. So it was less like, well, it was like what I would consider it as an audience member was I considered it reframing the word slut, and recontextualizing it in a way that was positive, or in a way that was less focused on how society has crafted slut to be kind of like have negative connotations, and recontextualizing it to kind of just mean basically non-monogamous. Was kind of how she came out at the end. She was like, basically what I'm trying to say is being a slut doesn't mean you're, anything negative or anything bad, and there's no,
There's a difference between unethical sluttery and ethical sluttery as well. That was what she opened with, this idea that like you can be an ethical slut, but there's also unethical
she was going that
sluttery.
like that's ethical non-monogamy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like not and how she was saying there's no but it's
It's
there's
still
no
within the agreement.
well there shouldn't be any kind of non-ethical non-monogamy. It's all ethical
Everything's-
non-monogamy.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Was her like takeaway and reframing slut in the context of non-monogamy.
Yep.
And then doing it in like a really cool way through like talking about like the animal kingdom, and like how most animals are non-monogamous, and how we're kind of the exceptions out here, being like we need to marry and be monogamous and stay with the same person, even though there's like 7 billion people on the planet that you could be with instead, or like as well. And it was just really interesting the way that she kind of tackled it. My one downside of the show was the audience.
Oh yeah, it was a bad audience.
It wasn't. It was a bad audience. It was a fantastic audience.
No, I didn't.
It just
think it was a good
didn't
audience.
really shut up.
Yeah, that's what I mean
And I
by
was
bad
like-
audience.
But like, there was an extent to which it was worthwhile. But then there was an extent to which you were meant to shush.
It's not your show.
Yeah.
That was
And I enjoyed how supportive the audience was. I just didn't like when some of the audience members didn't know when the right time to kind of was.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, what was your opinion of it? What was your
I thought it
take?
was good. I really liked the show. I think it to me it felt like a show that is still in its figuring it out phase, if that makes sense. Like it's still
Yeah.
in its early development.
Yeah.
I think I she read off the computer for the whole show, and I think that
Yeah.
like that was the thing that kind of took me out of it. I was like, I kind of wish she didn't have the
See,
screen
I
there.
liked that from I don't even know she was necessarily reading. Like, I liked that from a
Yeah, that's
convention
fair.
standpoint.
Interesting.
Like, it felt like it was a gig, and it felt like it was a lecture.
Ah, okay.
Like, I thought that the same way, like in Rich People Cry Too, there was that PowerPoint element
Oh
of it.
yeah.
Like, it felt very similar to that. Like, I'm giving you a lecture. I'm an anthropologist. I'm here. I'm just being me. This is 100% me. Like, she was dressed very casually, I would say. And she was straight up like, this is me. This is who I am. I'm telling you this.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you could push it to be very performative, but I'd wonder if that would detract.
I'm not sure, because that's kind of, I was sitting there thinking that like, I feel like this show, because of its subject matter and everything, I think it should be more. It felt. I mean, this is me projecting.
Yeah.
And I obviously this opinion is nothing, but it's just I sat there thinking, I was like, she felt a little bit reserved, and she was hiding behind, not hiding, but like she had the screen in front of her, and she was a little bit reserved, and I felt like there was if she had kind of upped the ante a bit, I feel like I could have been drawn more into it.
Yeah.
Whereas while
well, by up, what do you mean though? Like what, she like got up and
no, I just feel like her levels of projection and confidence, I think, could have been engaged by maybe 10-20%.
Yeah.
And I think that probably would have helped that.
Yeah.
And her songs at the start, I was like, I don't know about this, but towards the end, I was like, these are great. I was really loving them. And it was just like, I think there was if you could trim out some of those ones where I was sitting there going like, oh, if this is going to be the whole thing. But as it built up, I was like, oh no, I'm in now. Like I really liked it. I just wish there was a bit of a slow, gradual increase where I was like, it took me about 20 minutes to be like, okay, I'm on board now.
Yeah.
Whereas for the first bit, I was like, oh, I don't know about this. I'm kind of really not sure where this is going to go. But in the end, I think it was a really good show. It's just that kind of though that gradual increase probably could have been helped by a more kind of confident performance.
Yeah. I wonder if that's like I wonder if as a woman who's more able to sort of relate to her, I liked that it was mellow and that I could see myself in her shoes. Whereas as someone who's a man, maybe it's easier to like interact with a story if they're being more presentational.
Yeah.
And I wonder like if that's.
I think I was going in expecting to see something like Rich People Cry Too, and on that level of performance. And this wasn't that, which is fine. But it's just like that's an expectation that I had, which is unfair. That's not the fault of the performer. But I was like, oh, this is much more of a subdued. It's almost like you're sitting at a bar.
Well, I mean, it was a
on
gig, and it was a music performance. Like it wasn't marketed as a theatrical performance.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Like she's in the genre of music, so I liked the mellowness because I feel like if you there's a. Like when you go to a gig and stuff, like that's what you're going to get. You're going to get someone sitting on a stool playing guitar and singing a few songs. And so the fact that there was even story in between them, like I liked that. I liked that she did riff a bit.
Actually, that's a really good point.
Like because it's not a theater show.
Yeah,
like
but
if she was
to me, the context of it was in a theater. Like if it was relocated to a more traditional gig performance space, I think I wouldn't have had the same problems with it.
Hello. So my audio recorder died. I forgot to charge it. By charge it, I mean change the batteries. We haven't podcasted in a while, okay? Cut me some slack. But the rest of the podcast episode has the camera audio. There'll be a bit of a shift. I'm sorry. I won't make it again. I know. All right. It always happens. Something goes wrong with the podcast. It's always something, and it's been a long time. And my AA battery has died. So sorry about that. But anyway, back to it. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Whereas because we were sitting on tiered seating, I think that
things occur in
no, that's true.
Like,
but I still feel like I feel like and that might have been also why the audience had some interesting because it's gig-esque.
Yeah.
There's no
well,
real.
It is a music. Like she's in the music category. I think that's what
she's
remembering.
That's interesting.
She's not in.
I didn't know that
she's
until now.
in the.
She's a musician rather than a performer.
Well,
which makes
still
more
a performer.
sense. Well, yeah, no, obviously. But
but she's not under theatre.
She's not a theatrical
she's in the
performer.
music
She's a musical performer.
A singer.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I just really liked how mellow it was and how relatable it was. Like, I think if it was any more performative, I would have been like, is this real?
Yeah, that's interesting.
And it would no longer be like a cool person giving me a lecture that I could approach.
And I think a lot of that, it definitely felt like this is a person who has a really good experience and knowledge of academic lecturing. And it did have a lot of those elements of like it feels very educational, not in a dragging kind of way, but in a way that it's well spoken and well articulated in a way that I was like, oh, this feels almost like it's like when a singer would come to your school and sing fun songs, like educational songs. It felt like that, but like.
I don't have that experience.
Really, you never had that?
Singers come to your school and sing what?
You know, like a teacher would get out a guitar and sing a song about maths or something. You didn't do that?
I don't think so. What do you mean? Like a teacher you already know?
Well, sometimes you bring in a teacher. They'll bring in an act who'll do like a little song and dance.
No. The only person I remember ever playing guitar was the Reverend.
Oh yeah, but that's not the same.
Okay, then no, I don't have that experience at all.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Wow.
It's a unique
Well,
experience.
no one's Can someone please play the guitar and sing to me? I just want to learn stuff by someone playing the guitar and singing.
Yeah, but that's what that was.
Yeah.
So that's what you got that.
Yeah, I met her at the end as well.
Yeah, that's true.
It was very exciting.
That was
I got
very
to say
nice.
hi.
Good to say hi.
And that was really.
And I
cool.
did get to talk to the rich people quite too. Go with the award show. I said good job.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
we did the ones that we.
Wonderful. We talked to the relevant.
We talked to the relevant people, the ones that we enjoyed the shows of.
But yeah. That was the last show we saw.
Yes,
so we managed to actually surprisingly fit a bunch of shows in
about
despite
that.
having performing 12 ourselves, you know, because somehow...
11.
11, we
One
had
of them
one
was
cancelled.
cancelled because there was nobody can. Nobody came.
Anyway, we don't talk
That's
about
okay.
that. I wasn't going to mention that. I was just going to ride the high. But
I enjoyed
Aaron popped
having
in.
a night off, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess so. But
yeah,
it's a bit sad for everyone involved.
it's okay.
But we're not going to talk about that.
No.
Because why talk about sad things when you talk about happy
But
things?
we had a pretty good season though. I was pretty happy with it. Enjoyable, fun performances. Doing some good. Doing some good energy levels and having a really good space. I really liked the space as much as it was an interesting location. I think.
Yeah, location-wise was bad.
Yeah, and sound-wise it was bad, but like.
Sound-wise.
But like I thought, we had a lot of room, which is
Sound-wise
nice.
was not a problem.
Because there's a lot of us, and having a lot of room was a really good thing to get. But yeah, what else did we do in Auckland? Nothing.
I mean, we toured around Auckland.
Yeah,
we did the tourism
did a bit
thing.
of a run. Went to Waiheke Island.
Yep, we
a
did a
couple
lot
times.
of things.
That was fun.
A lot of the tourism variety of things. So Auckland has stuff to offer, but not a lot to offer.
Yeah,
Going to Auckland, don't spend longer than a week there. A couple of days.
What I was saying
get it all
was,
done.
if I ever go, when I go back to New Zealand and do the road trip, because everyone has to do that, you end in Auckland. You know, you drive up to Auckland, spend either a day or two, and then from there go to all the other places that are around Auckland. Like you go to the islands, you catch the ferry, you go do that, maybe spend a day or two in the city, and then fly out from there. And I was like, that I think I could see myself doing. So it is a good place to maybe like end your trip.
Yeah.
It's a bit chill, it's a little bit mellow, there's not that too much to do, and you can relax.
Yeah, well, you either
in
start
the
or you
city
end
more.
there. I mean, that's how generally it's done anyway.
Yeah, usually, yeah.
One's at the top, you either go from top to bottom or bottom to top.
So.
But yeah, no. It was interesting. It was a very interesting experience. I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, that's true.
It was a.
Now we only have one show to worry about.
I was talking to someone literally like before you arrived about how I was not doing too good on the trip in general. Like I was not coping with the amount of people that were around me all the time. I don't do good in large social situations. There were just too many
especially
people.
considering you also had
And
some sort of responsibility
I had
there.
way too and they were like, well, what would you have done differently? Like if it was 2 months ago, what would you have done? I said I would have dropped out of one of the shows and I would have dropped half of my admin responsibilities onto someone else because anyone else could have done them as well. Someone else could have done one of the parts easily, and I would have got my own room. Because staying in a hostel and then staying in a shared Airbnb and then staying in another hostel meant that I was so suffocated. I was constantly around people. There was never an opportunity to go exploring on my own, and if there was, people ended up coming with me, which was lovely, and I love those human beings. I'm glad they did, but it was also like, where is my... Aaron was one of those people that often came with me. It was fantastic. I'm glad he was there.
No, it's okay. I don't blame you.
I probably would have gotten lost if I wasn't with people, so it was really, really a good thing, but I was also meant that I had very little space until my last 2 days on my own, and those last 2 days on my own, I was in a hostel.
Yeah. Well, you did have that one night with... I ended up because there was literally no other way of getting to the airport unless I bought an $150 Uber at 5 a.m. in the morning. So I ended up staying in a hotel for the last night, which cost more than both of my hostels combined. But I will be not be eating out for the next month, and I will be exclusively spending money on useful things until I get my paycheck, because Auckland really did burn the bank. For good reasons though. And that hotel literally saved my life. And being back in my bedroom and on my bed
beautiful. Never been happier. Never been happier to see my own pillow and my own space. And being
Oh,
able to
yeah,
close the
the
door
grace.
and not have people walk in the door every 2 minutes after I've closed it. Oh, heavenly. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So.
Don't need boundaries. One of my boundaries is personal space.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Big fan of personal space. That's why I spent the extra money for it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I could have. Like, I was,
No,
like, I
that's
was
fair.
thinking about it and I was like, so next time I just need to save up better.
Yes.
So that I could have spent more
Yeah.
on a room for myself.
Yeah.
So that's what I do differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be more money conscious.
Yeah.
But in a different way.
Yeah, or just like earn more money, get richer
better
quicker,
job. Get good money.
get richer quicker,
Get rich quick schemes.
so that you can have your own room and not be stuck sharing with other people.
Yeah.
One day, I'm working on it. One day I'll be an adult.
One day
I'll
you'll be rich.
Yeah, one day. Yeah, no, I was very jealous of your hotel rooms. It was very fancy.
That's only because I don't have any other bills I need to pay for things.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm very lucky that I don't have to save up for too many things. And
Yeah.
I can afford to splurge in a hotel room.
Yeah.
Which, in all honesty, is probably still eating into savings for me. But it's not like I couldn't afford to not to.
Yeah,
if that
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. Like, I could afford to, so I did.
Yeah.
But I probably also could have used that money.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it
yeah.
was like it was a
It's
toss up.
always a, yeah,
There
it's
was
always a
it
toss-up.
wasn't like
yeah.
I couldn't spend the money on
Yeah.
it, but it's also that I really need to.
Yeah.
But I don't regret it.
No, and I don't
So-
regret staying in hostels.
No,
my
of
bank
course
is
not.
happier because of it.
Absolutely.
But still, needed space.
Yeah.
The space I have now.
Amen.
Anyway, I have
Speaking of
nothing to add.
space,
We're gonna give you some space from us.
well, I don't know. That's what I was
Right.
gonna say, but I don't know. Like,
I don't have anything else to
I
add.
don't have anything else to say. I don't know when we'll do another podcast.
I mean, maybe they'll go back to being weekly.
They
I don't
could
know.
go back to being
They
weekly.
may go back to being 3 monthly.
Yeah.
Anything
All
is
I'm
possible
trying to say
in
is
this
we're not
climate.
putting ourselves into any sort of we need to do this anymore.
We are.
Well, not like we don't need to do anything. I think we both
Just
deserve,
don't
especially
do
after
anything.
Auckland, just to take. If you wake up at 5 a.m. and go, hey, let's record a podcast, great, let's do one. And if I go, hey, maybe we should record a podcast, then we'll do one. But otherwise, we'll see. I think hopefully you'll all understand how busy we have been, and we like talking to each other, and we also like talking in front of other people.
We.
Therefore, our conversations become at least somewhat justified, because otherwise we just ramble to each other, and that's great too.
Yeah. We love it.
we
love
love
a cheeky
rambling.
justification for a hangout. I mean, that's what this is, right?
Yeah, that's all this is.
Nothing more.
And somehow we made a play out of it.
I know. Can you imagine? Oh dear God.
We
Anyway,
realized that, oh no, we have to actually justify this somehow. But anyway,
yeah.
thank you for
Anyway.
coming with us. Hopefully, I don't know how long this is, but
I feel
hopefully
like
it's
it's
not
quite
too long.
long.
I realized that too as we were talking about the shows. I'm like,
I
oh,
was
this
like,
could go
I
for a bit
think
more.
I think we're longer than I can actually tell you. You know
That's
what?
alright.
We're gonna move this camera to be candid. You can see our setup, and I can tell you exactly.
We
oh,
record
shit.
on our phones.
I
That's why
stopped
this.
the recording.
That's why the side angles are so bad. It's because we recorded on our phones, and I have to do
I stopped recording. Okay, what's your best guess about how long that was?
116.
No,
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 longer than that.
shorter than
Okay, 106,
that. Shorter than that.
105,
Shorter than that.
55 minutes.
No, longer than that. You were so close with 105. 104, 26.
Oh, that's actually that's a reasonable amount of time.
But yeah, no, so we record, the side angles are on our phones on little stands. Aaron's
Mine
is
was
over
still
there
there.
currently, which is his. Yours is very front on. Normally you have one from here. Normally
Yeah, I
you have
know.
very.
I'm not sure why it's.
I think you wanted to cut out my containers.
That's probably what it was. But I think
But
there's still
now it's basically the same as that. I was realizing when I was talking, I was like, I'm talking to both cameras. Like my
Yeah.
looking to the camera doesn't pan as well as
Whoops,
normally. I
sorry
look all the way
about
over here, so it looks like I'm looking at you.
That makes sense.
But this one looks good.
Cool.
Film quality was well.
Harry did set me up very well, so at least I look nice.
I made sure that his slouch would fit in. Although you still get my belts in the corner. I haven't worked out how to get rid of that.
That's okay.
But
But
we Gucci.
thanks for listening. It's been a fun time. It's been a good few months.
We can't even say we'll meet again anymore. So what's our ending? To you folk out there, what should our ending be?
Hit us up on rng.rm.alive to...
Don't forget, we never say don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Don't forget
hit
to
the
like, comment, and
notification bell,
subscribe, hit the notification
all that
bell.
stuff.
No one
Like, that's
comments
a
on our
YouTube
videos.
thing. I know, but like, you know, it's for
But yeah,
practice.
do
like
it.
form
You know what?
practice.
Change the form. Today, this one, comment. Be like, just comment something, comment first.
Oh my god, please don't do that. That's so cringe.
6 people need to comment first. No.
If you comment, we'll give you a shout out.
Leave us a review.
Please
Review us on Spotify or whatever you're listening to us on. If you're not listening
Can
to
you
us on
review on
YouTube,
Spotify?
yeah, you can review on everything.
Wild.
Be like, hey, I like the way these two people talk about funny things all the time, and sometimes they talk for a while.
They do.
Hit us a review. Go and watch the documentary.
Hit us a review. Yes, go and watch our documentary.
But what's the name of our next show?
The next
Keep
show
the
is
faith.
Ghost Town.
Ghost Town. Don't be Ghost Town.
It's now just a lick, that's the end. Yeah, we're lizards now. We just need to end is what we need to do.
I thought that was the end. I don't know why you kept going. Don't be the Ghost Town.